Rochester, New Hampshire, Anytown, USA. Morning traffic crowds Main Street. The downtown theater has long ago lost out to the mall multiplex, but you can still get the paper at the corner drugstore. Life goes on, for most. Like any place else, Rochester has its share of troubled teens, teenagers who sometimes consider suicide as an easy way out. Just a few months ago, 19-year-old Carrie Amore took her own life in Rochester. Like many suicidal teens, she actually believed that her family would be better off without her, that they would carry on their lives normally. She was wrong.
Carrie was a super person, a very warm, caring person, very bubbly. She would give you the shirt off her back. She would always take care of others before herself. I couldn't believe she did that to us. Even right now, I'm very angry. I love my daughter very much, but I think I got a raw deal, to put it very, very simply. I mean, you sacrifice your whole life for your children in hopes that, you have some joyous occasions, seeing, granddaughters, things you look forward to in life, and you're willing to give up a lot, and, when they're younger, and it just all, push.
Al Amore lives the pain of his daughter's death. Although Carrie had lots of friends and an active life, she never really recovered emotionally from her mother's sudden death from a heart attack 4 years ago. Carrie became depressed. In spite of her family's best efforts and support from a community of friends and mental health professionals, Carrie went ahead with her suicide plan. Late one night, she swallowed an overdose of antidepressant medication she had secretly stashed away rather than taking as prescribed. Carrie's stepmother, Judy, discovered the body in the morning.
And the first thing that ran through my mind was, how could you do this to us? I thought, oh, that's horrible. What a thing to think. And that's exactly what I thought. I wanted to shake her. I just wanted to shake her and say, how could you do this to us? Do you know what the rest of our life is going to be like? I thought, oh, that's awful. That's an awful thought. So I just ran back out, and that's when I called the police.
To my family, I just wanted to say goodbye and tell you how much I love you all. Also, I wanted to say sorry. I just couldn't deal with things anymore. You guys will be better off without me. No more of my complaining or crying or mood swings. You will all see that life's better off without me. I don't want
Carrie's note was very la-di-da-di-da and no conception whatever. I really believe that it's got to be known that, if someone decided to take their life, what they're leaving behind, they're leaving an empty shell.
I wish everyone all the luck in the world. I know you all will do great.
It's been, what, 2.5 months now. I still don't sleep.
No.
My anger just keeps building and building and building. I went down to the cemetery last time I was there was a month ago. I feel bad because I don't go. But the last time I went there, I just kicked the dirt and, yelled at her. If a cop was there, he probably would have arrested me. I just jumped up and down. Why'd you do this to us? Don't you understand? You went through that pain. Now you're going to do it to all these individuals. I mean, her friends. It's incredible. So, kids really have to understand. Suicide was Carrie's easy way out. It's like a tornado. It just went through a city. There's nothing left. It's an empty shell now. And that's where the family is right now.
Tina Amore was close with her younger sister. They had suffered through the trauma of their mother's death together. Though she took Carrie's suicidal tendencies seriously, she never thought her sister would actually follow through. Tina hoped that the memory of the pain from their mother's death would stop Carrie, that she would not want to create any more suffering in the family. Tina was shattered when she heard the news.
So I walked in and my grandparents were there. And so I was like, what's going on? And my dad's eyes were full of tears, and I was like, well, is it Nan Slavin? And my Uncle Joey goes, no. He goes, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what happened? What? And no one told me at first. And they're like, Carrie. I mean, I just couldn't believe it.
just couldn't believe it. You couldn't accept it.
It was like, why, how, you know? And they just explained. She used to tell me she was going to do it, then I'd be like, Karen, you're not going to do that to us. And then she'd be like, you know, a little while later, she'd be like, I wouldn't do that to you. She goes, because I know you're not over mom yet. And she goes, I wouldn't do that. And then when I found out she did that, I was like, you know, how could she? She promised me. She told me, you know, I took everything serious, she said, but she promised me I wouldn't do it to you, Tina. And she did.
Tina, it's very hard to say goodbye to you. We have been through so much. And through the years, we have gone through a lot of feelings, laughter, and emotions. Hurt. I could go on forever. But we have always tried to stay close. I really hope you have a full and happy life. And I hope you...
How can she think, like, I'm going to be okay? You know, she did abandon me. Because she said we'd be together, you know, for the rest of our lives. She talked about me having kids, getting married. You know, she's going to be my maid of honor and stuff. And it's like, that's gone. I couldn't even picture ever getting married without her. You know, my mom was hard enough. And it's like, you know, then I thought I had Kerry. You know, she'll stand by me. Now, my life is just destroyed.
Are you feeling suicidal? Are you feeling suicidal?
The phones at the Samaritan Suicide Prevention Hotline in Boston ring continuously every night of the week. This one office receives more than 80,000 calls a year, many of them from teenagers who consider suicide their only option. Nationwide, about 5,000 teenagers take their own life each year. That's about one teen suicide every hour and 45 minutes. Margaret O'Neill is director of the Samaritans Boston chapter.
It's a problem that young people today consider taking their life as a way to cope with problems. Most kids don't try to kill themselves. You know, depression is a normal part of adolescence, a normal part of life, but still, young people think about suicide more than many adults would want to believe.
In fact, 1 out of every 12 teenagers will attempt suicide in this country. It is the third leading cause of death among teenagers. Yet it remains something we don't like to talk about. There is a stigma about suicide that prevents us from acknowledging its full scope and understanding its root causes.
To think that someone so full of life in their youth, with so much ahead of them, would think about taking it away for what most of us think are seemingly minute problems. But for the young person, they aren't minute. They don't have life history. They don't know they can get through things. They don't necessarily have the support systems around them to figure it out, and it's overwhelming.
The teen years are one of the most troubled times of life, and the lives of today's teenagers are particularly pressured and complicated. No one knows that better than Dr. Robert Brooks. He has worked extensively with suicidal teens and their families at McLean Hospital.
In different ways, I try to communicate to teenagers that suicide is a permanent solution to what may be a temporary problem, that there may be other ways of dealing with the pain and distress. I would never try to minimize the pain. I would never try to just push it aside and say everything will be okay. But I would really try to communicate to them that there are other ways of coping with it, and that many of these problems can in fact be surmounted, and people can lead very successful lives as adults, even if they've been in distress as a teenager.
You think people who commit suicide want to die?
In a junior high school north of Boston, Samaritan volunteer Bill Emerson tries to make a difference. One of these 7th graders recently tried to kill herself. Now he is here to help the class work through their trauma.
Not everyone who attempts suicide, or not everyone who wants to die. In fact, the majority of people don't. They want help. A lot of people were surprised that a 7th grader would attempt suicide. There are a lot of pressures around them today that there were not, 10, 15, 25 years ago. Because of the stigma of suicide, a lot of people have the conception that someone who is thinking about suicide is crazy or is mentally ill. And that's another myth. And we have to realize that anyone has the potential for suicide. The important thing is what? When you see someone where there are some changes in their life, and the things that they do, what do? Let somebody know. That's the most. Because it is a reality, we need to talk about it. It's happening around them, and they need to have a better understanding of why someone thinks about it. So I think the more we talk about it, the more we get it out in the open, the healthier it is.
I've even said that, to God and take my life and bring it back. That's fine with me. I would have no qualms with that whatsoever. I've lived I would say a good portion of my life. I've been able to do things that she should be doing now. And I would give my life tomorrow for her, if I could do that. I have total love for my daughter.
Does it hurt to see the impact on the other children?
Yeah. On top of everything else, I have to worry about everyone else now, too. It's devastating. Everyone's life is in turmoil. Even her friends, when I see their friends, they see me, they start crying. It's not just a family. She's affected everyone's life that she's ever walked into. My sister, my mom, dad, my brother. So yeah, was that a selfish act? Well, it certainly was. There's a lot of lives going to be devastated over this for a long time.
Carrie had a big heart. Carrie liked people. Would she have wanted to hurt you this bad?
I don't think she wasn't thinking she was going to hurt us when she passed away, because she's probably looking down now going, what did I do? What did I do to her? What did I do to, my brother and my dad and stuff? I just hope she's happy.
Survivors of suicide, those who have lost a loved one to suicide, struggle with acceptance of the death for years. It will forever change a family and a community. I don't know that there's any good that comes out of it, but what I would want to say is we need to learn from it. Learn about suicide. Learn about why young people feel this way and how to intervene appropriately. You can't prevent people from killing themselves. You can save young people's lives, but we've got to talk about it. We can't be afraid of it anymore.
It was tough going through this whole thing. I get the casket and everything, and swore at her several times. I was very angry, and I even said to her, I says, you dumb kid, who's going to pay for all this? I don't have a gravestone. All I get is this dumb, piece of dirt to look at it, and it hurts. She was a beautiful young girl, and wanted to see her down there.